Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the frontline changes report for the past 24 hours. We're going to jump straight into it. The first frontline change is over in Oleksievka, over in the Sumy front. Weird situation has happened. The Russian forces yesterday, in yesterday's frontline changes report, the Ukrainian mapping map that the Russians have advanced to this point. However, we now have a geolocation of Ukrainian forces in the opposite direction, which means the Ukrainian forces have retaken the lost grounds, or it could be a dated video. It's unsure, it's all really unclear what's the real situation. So the Ukrainians have retaken these grounds based on our principles of mapping. So we shall just put this back as Ukrainian control. The advance is probably around 1.4 kilometers. So that's the frontline change over in this sector of the front line and the Sumy front. The next frontline change is over in Kupyansk. We finally have some updates over in the battle of Kupyansk. We have geolocations, two different geolocations in the Kupyansk city. And so these two geolocations, I don't think I'm going to link them directly because there is a major high-rise zone, which is a bit tricky if I just assume that the Russians have taken it. So this sector here, the Russian forces basically have advanced down along the river near to this junction which controls the crossing, which is super important to the other side of the Kupyansk city. And then another advancement comes on the other flank, which is so you can see it's actually a two-pronged attack. The advance on the western part one is 400 meters. The other one is around at least almost a kilometer. So that's the frontline changes in the Kupyansk city, in the battle of Kupyansk. The next frontline change. So after this frontline change, the next frontline change is over in Pischane. So yesterday we have this piece of frontline change, not the day before, I think. The Russian mapping have updated to show that the advance is a bit more than previously understood. But this is based on Russian claims. So Pischane is over here, Stepanivka. So that's the frontline change here. After this, we go to Siversk. And over in the Siversk front, frontline changes over in the south at so I'm going to turn this off so you can see Vimka and Konstyantynivka region. So at Vimka region, Russian mapping have updated to show that the Russians have full control along the railway forest on the west of Vimka. So this is a Russian claim. This one we cannot confirm yet, but all of the railway line under Russian control isn't particularly special. I think it makes sense. And previously we have this geolocation already. The capture of Konstyantynivka, or most of it. The Russian mapping have updated to show a more expanded zone of control where all the land next to the river, the Bakhmutovka river, is all under Russian control. So this is the two frontline changes over in the Siversk front. After this two frontline change in the southern half of Siversk front, we go to Priteschne, over in the Konstyantynivka front. So this is a very interesting one. We all know that the Priteschne is under attack by the Russian forces on probably two sides. We now have a geolocation confirming that the Russians have entered into the rear end of Priteschne. So this geolocation confirms the Russians have entered into this sector here. We draw a very basic triangle to kind of illustrate this. This advancement is around maybe 1.2 kilometers. So if I zoom out, you can see the implications with this chunk here, with the Russians advancing around here, and previous frontline is noted to be along Stopochki. Yeah, we are looking at a potential pincer, and the Ukrainian forces is slowly drawn into a salient or perhaps an encirclement. So tentatively this is a pretty significant frontline change over in the south, on the eastern part of Konstyantynivka city. The next frontline change is over in Udashne, over in the Pokrovsk front. This is Pokrovsk. Over in Udashne, there is a geolocation of Russian forces over on this mining facility, which confirms that the Russian forces have made some strong advance in Udashne. So we have now a confirmation that the Russians are pushing in this sector. The advance is around 1.6, maybe 1.5 kilometers. So this is significant because our understanding, and based on when I was doing the sit rep, we put this as a static line. So if the Russians are pushing in this direction, maybe they are going to put pressure on this Ukrainian highway. So we shall see how this goes. After this Udashne one, the next front line change is at Filia. So Russian forces confirmed to have captured Filia. This is part of the Komar front. Komar is over here. This is Filia. And this two geolocation confirms the Russians' full capture of Filia. We draw a simple triangle based on the two geolocations, and we have declared the capture of Filia. So the next frontline change, so the advance at least is probably around 1 kilometer plus. There's major forest north of it, so we shall see, what the Russians are going to do as they enter into the Dnipro-Petrov region. As I did mention before also, this area here by right is pretty static. So another offensive in the unexpected zone again. So let's see. After Filia, the next frontline change is at Verbove. This is a very big piece along with Krychorivka, along with this piece. So first thing first, let's talk about Krychorivka first. This part of the Hulyaipole sector, because there is geolocation confirming the near full capture of Krychorivka. So this chunk here of Krychorivka is now confirmed to be taken by the Russian forces. There is still a little bit of Krychorivka left. So this is confirmed capture. However, the Russian mapping by Ryba have mapped a very big chunk here. This big chunk. So can I, yeah, maybe like this. Yeah, so I can feed now everything in. So the Russian forces, according to the Russian sources mapping, now claim the Russians have advanced all along this sector here, stretching from Novovasilivsky all the way to the north of Stepove, with major advancement north of Verbove region and basically full capture of Verbove, pushing in the direction of Vishneve. So, and there are major fortification in the north is all claimed to be captured. Kalinivsky is entirely secured in the south as the Russians allegedly push west of Novomykolaivka. Novokrychorivka is later captured. We already know 3/4 at least has been captured, confirmed by geolocations, but the Russian claims much bigger than that, and an expansion of the zone to include the crossing. Yeah, the crossing, there's a bridge at Novovasilivsky that is now allegedly under Russian control. So this is a very, very, very big frontline change in this sector here. So this is the frontline changes in the past 24 hours. This is all the frontline changes. So we're going to do some calculation. You can see this is a lot of calculation already done. So the Ukrainians have captured 1.79 square kilometers. This is on the Sumy front one. And the Russians captured 0.92 plus 2.74 plus 1.34 plus 5.2 plus 26.13. Total area captured is 36.33 square kilometers. Of course, a big chunk of this is all claims. But yeah, the front lines changes are rather significant. Like Kupyansk front, the situation in the South Siversk, and this one over in the main offensive region at the Komar-Hulyaipole sector. So anyway, let's see how this goes. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today. Check out the sit rep. The reach of DPA war channel is dying. Yeah, so there's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next update.